We make it so complicated, this living of our lives. We layer on bits and pieces of sludge into the open caverns of our heart, sealing them tight with muddy burdens. We take for granted how simple it can be, how simple it really is, because we have become utterly obsessed and infatuated with winning the gold in Struggle Olympics. The question many of us ask, how do I live a good, joyful life, quickly becomes, how do I get through this life? And I don't know much, but I do know that every time I felt the rush of a good morning with the blue and sunny sky hit my eyes, possibilities open up within me. And I do know that when I've had a bad day, it doesn't take more than a long hug or a little laugh to begin the washing of a muddy heart. Cynicism has never brought me more life. Judgment towards myself or others has never given me more purpose. Feeding resistance and resentment has never watered the seeds of my growth. And we make it so complicated, this living of our lives.
But you're awakening already, right? It's already happening. That's why you're here and why you're listening.
Nothing is broken in your world. Nothing needs to be changed. Nothing needs to be different. And yet everything is constantly changing because it is the inevitable nature of that which is eternal.
What I've come to realize in this endless searching for answers is that there really are none.
If you spend your whole life trying to get your act together, then what do you have? You have an act, right? Instead of a life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Figuring Shit Out. I'm Vanessa Fontana. I'm your host, and if you're new here, Figuring Shit Out is a space for brave, intentional living in a world of flux. It is meant to help you embrace what you have figured out courageously, wholeheartedly. It is meant to normalize conversations around what we haven't figured out, and it is meant to also help you surrender to what we may never figure out. Consider this episode to be a reorientation of you and you. Consider this episode to be a pathway, a portal into your alignment. Consider this episode to be a friend, a companion in you remembering who you are and why you're here, reorienting you back in your heart, in your purpose, in your beingness, and really allowing you to feel into this concept of joy. 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 Now, some people might say, look at this girl sitting down on her rocking chair in front of 8 evergreen trees, a series of mountains in front of me, recording, talking to a camera, talking into a microphone. To sit and talk about joy in this economy, in this socioeconomic land. Who does she think she is? Why does she think that joy should have a seat at the table of the conversation that we are having in this world around the collective dysfunction? Joy? Oh, there's no time for joy. There's no space for joy. And I'm here in this episode to tell you why that is not true and why joy is the best thing that you can do for the state of the world, for humanity, for yourself, and for your family, friends, and people around you. Why you living in your highest truth, your highest timeline is not the easiest thing. It's actually probably one of the harder things that we're going to do. It's a lot easier to just choose the familiar comfort of safety and, join the misery loves company party. But this exuberance for life, this fullness, this exclamation of who we are and why we're here, and this deservedness to take up that space is imperatively important to season 4 of Figuring Shit Out, the season of both being and becoming at once. Because when we are in a state of wanting something to happen, wanting to feel joy, wanting to be in delight and not in sorrow, we are only in a state of wanting. And so the most powerful thing you can do with your agency, with the autonomy of your ability to choose, is to choose joy, is to choose love, is to continue loving relentlessly. And this is a narrative that has been weaving over the last few episodes of Figuring Shit Out, covering taking up space and being unapologetically yourself no matter what. This uncircumstantial and unconditional state of being, in your choice. Asking yourself the question, what is it that I want? And then deciding that it is yours, deciding that that is enough for you to have it, and being there, staying there, living there. It seems like every time that I come back to this heart-opening truth, this expansive feeling of freedom that exists right now, not in some future desired state, not in some timeline where I have the things that I want, but right now in the realization that I have absolutely everything I need, that is the portal to expansion. That is the portal, ironically, to everything that we want. Is realizing that we already have it. Not needing anything attracts everything, but you can't not need everything in order to attract everything. It comes from this joyful state of being. And so to begin this episode, I'm going to read you something that I wrote about joy and about how simple it is to choose it and how difficult we make it. Before I read this, I invite you to take a deep breath with me. Maybe you're watching this video, you see the trees behind me, you see this girl on her rocking chair coming to tell you about joy, coming to tell you about how serious it is to take the unserious serious. And maybe you just sink into this, you reorient yourself into this new perspective and create some space with a deep breath. Breathing into your body, into your belly, and exhaling out. Devoting yourself to releasing anything you don't need as you listen to the next few moments of why joy is such a powerful tool, why it is the first step to everything that you want, why when you connect to this state of joy, you can literally have everything you want because you're open to it, you're receptive to it, how this is touching God, how this is being closer to divinity, how this is you in your highest timeline, your highest path. You don't have to work so hard or strive for it. It's so simple. It is here. It is now. Any great discovery comes with the willingness to be wrong. Every single scientist knows this, that you set out trying to prove yourself wrong. You set out trying to say, how can I take my biases and my judgments and flip them on their head so that I can see if my assumptions about this might be incorrect. And let me do everything I can to set up this experiment for my assumptions to be proven wrong so that I can know what the truth is. Any great discovery has been made in that space of curiosity. Allow yourself some space and allow yourself the fruition of these perspectives to sit in whatever discovery they may lead you to, getting curious about what that is, listening to my words and continuing on. This is a piece I wrote called Joy. We make it so complicated, this living of our lives. We layer on bits and pieces of sludge into the open caverns of our heart, sealing them tight with muddy burdens. The line item, call mom back, sits on our to-do list as we rush through our days with caffeinated neglect and deadlines. We and moan our way through the challenges that we know are a necessary prerequisite to the growth and expansion that we asked for. We yearn for sunshine on a rainy day, then stay inside when it comes, glinting out the window and uttering a must be nice. To all of the wretched freedom havers who get to enjoy it, we take for granted how simple it can be, how simple it really is, because we have become utterly obsessed and infatuated with winning the gold in struggle Olympics. The question many of us ask, how do I live a good, joyful life, quickly becomes, how do I get through this life? And I don't know much, but I do know that every time I felt the rush of a good morning with the blue and sunny sky hit my eyes, possibilities open up within me. I do know that when I give a stranger a compliment and watch their inner radiance come alive, that warmth opens in my chest and I feel the rush of pure bliss tap me on the shoulder. I do know that when I have risked the embarrassment of just dancing, just having a little bit more pep in my step on the sidewalk, just letting out a loud and expressive gleam come from my body when I feel excited. It was the most honest utterance of my humanity I could make. And I do know that when I've had a bad day, it doesn't take more than a long hug or a little laugh to begin the washing of a muddy heart. Cynicism has never brought me more life. Judgment towards myself or others has never given me more purpose. Feeding resistance and resentment has never watered the seeds of my growth. Ignoring a call from a loved one because I was too busy has never contributed to my abundance or expansion. Not holding the door for a stranger or deciding to dodge the barista's bid for niceties while I order my coffee has never made me happier. It is simple. Joy is simple. And we make it so complicated, this living of our lives, when really we could stretch our arms high and wide, open and expansive, and see right in front of us something to appreciate, something to love, something to connect to, something to water the seed of our growing heart, wanting to beat further into the land of joy. Our heart wants joy. Our bodies want joy. We knew it as children, and we make it so complicated, this living of our lives. It's a shorter piece that I wrote. I was having this morning to myself, and it was so miraculous. This morning when I wrote this, I was in the city, and I just felt such a beautiful rush of bliss because I haven't really been able to spend a lot of time alone. So I haven't really had this expansive freedom of just being by myself. So this morning I was actually by myself, and it was so lovely and so wonderful. And I was just feeling into this state of joy. And it was something that I hadn't felt in a couple of weeks, honestly. I hadn't felt this lightness, this joy of being. I had kind of gotten muddled in the to-do lists and into the day-to-day of every day, and it was just something that I didn't really have accessible to me. And all it took was one morning of some breath work and meditation and movement in my body, feeling into the bliss of just kind of allowing the alone time to connect me to myself. And it was in that moment that I realized how troublesome I was making things, how silly it all was, that I was thinking that all these things on this list were so important. And I tell you, anytime I have received abundance in my life in the form of financial freedom, in the form of new opportunities, in the form of clients or growing business or scaling a podcast audience or an online presence, all of that has been from a state of ease. That has all been from a state of having fun doing it. That has all been from a state of following the call, the intuition, and allowing myself to lean in, get curious, prove myself wrong about something. And so I really look back at all of the moments where that expansion was found in my life, and I realized that it was from this state of joy. And I make it so complicated. We as humans make it so fucking complicated, and it's really, really not complicated at all. I have a business degree. I've worked in corporate America leading strategy for the go-to-market of a data and AI product. I know strategy, I know process, I know organization, I know systems, I know the technical aspect of what's going to get shit done. And I tell you, when I approach things only from that masculine, logical, get shit done lens, it takes all of the life, it takes all of the joy, it takes all of the excitement about what I am doing out of it. And it doesn't matter if you're following your path. I am on my path. I'm following my path. I'm pursuing my passion. I am living a creative life. I am sacrificing the necessary things that need to be sacrificed in order to really go after my dreams. And I'm leaning into every single little bit of challenge that comes my way through that, every little surprise that comes my way through that, opening myself to the opportunity and the experience. Every single time in my life that I have tried to really put the sharp eye of strategy into what I'm doing, no matter if I'm following my path or not following my path, it has made things so much harder, and it has just built up a block of resistance. I've been carrying around this mantra with me lately: don't just get it done, make it fun. Don't just get it done, make it fun. Because girl, I need a reminder to not just get it done. I'm a Virgo rising. I love my lists. I love doing things. I love the dopamine rush of getting everything accomplished and then asking myself, what's next? I love it. I love moving fast. I just love that type of energy. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the New York City in me. I don't know what it is, but it's just something about movement and creation and but there's a sense of urgency behind all of that that can really suck all of the fun out of it. At the end of the day, strategy is never, ever going to beat alignment. It's just not. You can have all the strategy you want, but if you are not aligned with yourself at a deep core connected level, what's it for? What's it for? And also, like, what is the point of living life if not to laugh, if not to be in joy, if not to experience the fullness and the freedom of being alive? And why do we deaden ourselves with these have-dos and must-dos? Why do we numb ourselves when we, at the end of the day, whenever we lose a loved one, whenever we go through some type of grief, whenever life shows us the fragility that is a necessary part of it, we realize what is actually important. Why don't we just live with what is actually important on the day-to-day? And a big answer to this is people feel like they're going to be rejected if they're joyful and excited and loving and fully expansive. And if you are really curious as to how to stay in your center no matter what, the last 2 episodes were all about this. I go really, really deeply into that. But truly, we think about protecting ourselves, protecting our energy, protecting our peace, being really sensitive to other people, feeling like we might not be able to fully be ourselves around other people, when truly, truthfully, joy is the greatest spiritual protection that you will ever have. I heard another creator say this. Her name is Kim Peretz. She has a podcast called Claim Your Power, and she made a TikTok about how joy is the best spiritual armor. And I could not agree more. And I've really been sitting with that, because whenever I go into a place a little worried about how other people's energy is going to affect me, it's already affected me. Like, they've already won. The battle between me and my energy has already been fought, because I'm sitting there being like, how do I protect my energy? When really, if you were just fully in yourself, fully in your beingness, allowing yourself to move and flow and be in what feels good to you unapologetically, you wouldn't have to worry about how is this person going to affect me, or how is that going to affect me, or are they going to judge me, or are they going to reject me, and how is that going to disturb my inner world? You wouldn't have to micromanage or control things so much. And this is really what happens when you start to choose joy, when you start to choose surrender a little bit more in your life, is you let go of control. You have to let go of control, because you simply cannot feel joy when you are trying to micromanage everything in your life. There are 2 choices that motivates every single action that we take: fear or love. That's it. There are not many binaries in this world, but that is one of them. Fear or love. Are you motivated by fear? Are you motivated by love? And this is a question that I've really been asking myself in every single action that I take, because as I said, I live with that sense of urgency, that sense of hypervigilance, and I am unlearning that. I'm learning how to live with a little bit more flow, with a little bit more connectedness, with a little bit more joy, because whenever I have envisioned my highest timeline and taken steps towards it and been feeling fully connected to it, been fully on it, every single advice that I get from my higher self or from source always tells me, you gotta have fun. You gotta have fun while you're doing it. You get here, you get to this place, this expansive, full, joyful place by being joyful. And speaking of joy, it's going to be a beautiful, joyful, extremely expansive experience. Costa Rica 2026. I am going to be leading workshops. We are going to be hiking mountains. We're going to be horseback riding, playing in waterfalls. This is a beautiful trip with a balance of connection to community and inward reflection. There is time for both. There is space for both. This is a creativity retreat where you can connect with your inner child, your sense of joy, your expansion in the beautiful elements of Rincon de la Vieja National Park. We are going to be in a beautiful location, and we are going to be seeing the sights all around us, communing with nature and using nature to alchemize and to feel joy in our bodies. I'm going to be hosting this trip. The people who are on the trip are Figuring Shit Out listeners, people from my community. You only need 25% of the price of your ticket in order to secure your spot, and then you can pay the rest off by December. There are also payment plans available if you're interested in that, if you're interested in financing. But if your heart is calling you to this trip, you want to explore it more, please reach out. I'm happy to talk to you. And I'm also really, really excited about this and would just love to share the experience with anyone who feels called to it. If it's aligned and if it's a match, it's going to be a really cozy, connected space where maybe you'll meet your best friend friend, or maybe you'll meet some new people who will be part of your soul tribe in the future. And I say that with like an element of silliness, because the whole soul tribe thing is so real. Like when you find your people, and when you can just find people who speak the same language as you and speak the same language of your soul, you feel so seen and heard and loved and connected to. You get to this place, this feeling of freedom, by feeling freedom now. You get here not with your strategy and your to-dos. That's important, that's necessary, but with enacting that strategy, doing the shit on the to-do list with an open heart, with the joy of life inside of your bones. That's how. And is this going to separate you from the majority of people? Yes. And I've talked about this before. You are the 1%. If you are doing the self-development work, if you are looking inwards, looking at the shadows, turning them into light, transmuting, developing yourself into a version of you that is going after your dreams and is living a life of purpose and is really detaching from what society conditions us to be part of, and fully and freely allowing yourself to live a brave life. If you're doing that, you are the 1%, and you are going to stand out from other people. A lot of people, especially the people who play struggle Olympics, you know, the people who are always complaining, always kind of looking your way when you're joyful or happy, and snarling or judging or giving you the side eye, people who just can't help themselves. They love to gossip. They love to talk about other people. They love to invest themselves in the drama of everyone else's life because they just love to chit chat and project their insecurities onto everything, and they're judge. Don't get me wrong. I think we've all been this type of person at one time in our lives. Maybe certain people in our lives bring this version of us out. No judgment to these types of people, but these are the types of people who want to play the struggle Olympics. They want to say, my pain is bigger than your pain. I have the worst pain. And they want to win at this melodrama of life. These are the people who are going to say to you, how dare you? How dare you feel joy in this economy? How dare you feel joy when I can't feel joy? Who do you think you are? You're living in your own world. That's what they will say to you. And my response to those people is, well, what world would you have me live in? Yours? Do you want me to suffer with you? Is that why you are so upset that I'm living in my own world? Guess what? My world has space for you. You can come into my world. I love you and I'd love to have you in it, but I'm not going to go and trade where I am in my place, my joy, my freedom for suffering with you because you think that that's the right thing to do, because that's the reality that you know, because you feel entitled much more to your suffering than you do your own joy. And the best thing that you can do for these people and for others who are going to look at you with the side eye when you're feeling joy is know that you staying in that place is a choice of vibrational resonance. It is you allowing yourself to feel into a state of being that will elevate the room around you and will elevate the life around you. It will open up opportunities for more positivity to come in. And through that, you being a kind person, you talking to the barista and chatting, you giving that person a compliment when you like something about how they look, you being in your fullness and expression and living your life with this joy, with this love, having love motivate and sponsor your actions is the best thing that you can do. And from that place, you can create something of service, of true wholeness, of true help, because you are pouring from a full cup and you can see things with a greater perspective. You're not operating in survival. You're not operating in scarcity. You're not operating in lack. You're not operating by fear. And because of that, you are rippling more love through this world. And so you stay exactly where you are. Do not fold. Do not try to play the game of struggle Olympics. When someone else is complaining and you hear them wanting to complain with you, all you got to do is just listen and say, yeah, that must be hard. That sucks. You don't have to get involved in the melodrama. And the more that you choose not to, because it really does takes time. Like, this is something that we learn over time because we start to see how complaining and how participating in the melodrama of others is just not serving us. But we realize that it's a habit. It's something that we've been conditioned to do. We've been conditioned to stay in that vibration of criticism and negativity and lack and scarcity. It's what many of us have been growing from. And so when you start to realize that you just have so much more energy when you're not involving yourself in other people's drama, when you're not involving yourself in the feelings of fear and scarcity and lack and letting that compound, you start to also see how much more space you have to give, how much more space you have to really help, how much space you have to do so from a place of love and from a place of wholeness and not from a place of need or having to or obligation. And that changes everything. The power of you operating from love will always be 100 times stronger than the power of you operating from fear, lack, or scarcity. It just will. That's just how it works. I don't make the rules. And this doesn't mean that you don't have empathy. Like, this doesn't mean that you're just fully in your own world. Someone else is having a really hard time and you're like, la-di-da, hee, ha, ha, ha. Like, that's not what this is. That's not what I'm encouraging. I am just saying that you are actually able to have a lot more space to hold for other people and come from this place of knowing that everything is going to be okay for them, knowing that they're divinely held, divinely protected, feeling into this beautiful state of space that you can then hold for them. And it's so much more helpful than just being in that shit with them. You don't have to be in the misery with someone in order to help them. You're actually far more helpful when you are looking at it from a different perspective and holding the truth that you know that they're going to be okay and you know that everything is going to be okay. And it also does not mean inserting that into their experience. You don't have to be like, everything's going to be okay. Let me help you from my place of love and wholeness. All you have to do is just come with that energy, come with that state of being. And that's why also in everything that's going on in the world and in the reality that we live in where so much pain is happening, you are able to bring so much more presence to that pain. You are able to transmute it. You can't transmute other people's pain or the pain of others or help or be in service if you are in pain yourself. All you're going to do is be bringing your pain and then adding fuel to the fire, no matter how much you think that you're helping. If it's coming from a place of need, urgency, lack, fear, hatred, it is not actually doing anything. It's just fueling the fire of the polarity of love and fear. I'm going to read you something from one of my favorite books that has inspired a lot of figuring shit out's last season, Conversations with God. And this goes into the direct polarity. Every action taken by human beings is based in love or fear, not simply those dealing with relationships, decisions affecting business, industry, politics, religion, the education of your young, the social agenda of your nations, the economic goals of your society, choices involving war, peace, attack, defense, aggression, submission, determinations to covet or give away, to save or to share, to unite or to divide. Every single free choice you have ever undertook arises out of one of the only two possible thoughts there are. Thoughts of fear or thoughts of love. Fear is the energy which contracts, closes down, draws in, runs, hides, hoards, harms. Love is the energy which expands, opens up, sends out, stays, reveals, shares, and heals. Fear wraps our bodies in clothing. Love allows us to stand naked. Fear clings to and clutches all that we have. Love gives all that we have away. Fear holds close. Love holds dear. Fear grasps. Love lets go. Fear rankles. Love soothes. Fear attacks, love amends. Every human thought, word, or deed is based in one emotion or the other. You have no choice about this because there is nothing else from which to choose, but you have a free choice about which of these to select. You've been taught to live in fear. You have been told about the survival of the fittest and the victory of the strongest and the success of the cleverest. Precious little is said about the glory of the most loving, and so you strive to be the fittest, the strongest, the cleverest in one way or another, and if you see yourself as something less than in this situation, you fear loss, for you have been told that to be less is to lose. And so, of course, you choose the action, fear sponsors, for that is what you've been taught. Yet I teach you this. When you choose the action, love sponsors, then will you do more than survive. Then will you do more than win. Then will you do more than succeed. Then will you experience the full glory of who you really are and who you can be. To do this, you must turn aside the teachings of your well-meaning but misinformed worldly tutors and hear the teachings of those whose wisdom comes from another source. Yet the greatest reminder is not anyone outside of you, but the voice within you. This is the first tool that I use because it's the most accessible. The voice within is the loudest voice with which I speak because it is the closest to you. It is the voice which tells you whether everything else is true or false, right or wrong, good or bad as you've defined it. It is the radar that sets the course, steers the ship, guides the journey if you but let it. It is the voice which tells you right now whether the very words you are reading are words of love or words of fear. By this measure can you determine whether they are words to heed or words to ignore. For some context about the book, the reason that it's in the first person is because the dialogue is between this man who starts channeling God and God. And so it's a conversation. It's literally a conversation between this man who starts channeling the voice of God and asking him all of these questions. And it's an amazing book, truly. It's not religious, but it does talk about some of the religions and the dogma and the theories behind them and the misunderstandings. And it has informed so much of the last season of Figuring Shit Out because it really showed me and taught me that you get where you want to go by being where you want to go, by being in that place, by being in that vibrational state, that there is no difference between who you are and who you want to be. And we layer on these things that we think we have to do, these ways that we think we have to grow, these ways that we have to, because we've been conditioned by this fear that tells us that we're not enough as we are. And this book really caused me to just remove all of those layers, remove all of those falsehoods, and step fully into the fact that if I want to be something, that is already proof enough that I already am it, and that the being of it is simply the experiencing of the feeling. And so if you can conjure up the feeling, which you can, you are that powerful, then that's enough to start the momentum to lead you to where you are inevitably going. And it inspired a lot of episode 100, which is You Are Inevitable, which really talked about how the dreams that you have, the purpose that you have is not coincidental. Those are things that have been born inside of you alongside your birth into this existence. And so many of us long to live these creative lives. And we think that we have to go and do the thing of quitting our job and going to live them, when really living a creative life starts right now in the creativity of being, in the listening to ourselves and the intuitive connections that we have, in the leaning into joy, in the rebellion against the struggle Olympics, not playing them, deciding not to complain. And so I want to challenge you for this next week to notice where you are moving from fear. Okay. And notice what it feels like to move from fear. As the book stated, fear contracts, fear holds, fear tries to control. Fear is something that we move with a sense of, oh, I have to get this done, obligation, this anxiety. How often is fear sponsoring your thoughts, actions, and behaviors? And you can really tell this because when fear is sponsoring your thoughts, actions, and behaviors, you're not present. You're not there with the moment. You're not connected to wherever you are and the people around you and the thing that you're doing. You are somewhere else thinking about what needs to be done because you are in the survival of trying to get it done. And Figuring Shit Out season 4 specifically is all about how to turn that state of survival into one of self-expression. And a state of self-expression is synonymous with a state of love. And you can just tell when you're moving from a state of love because it's easy. There is a lightness about your being. You're doing things from a place of genuine desire and not because you think you have to or you're obligated to. You're far more present. You're allowing the moment to take you where it takes you, and you're not trying to control it. You're allowing yourself to be as you are, and you're not trying to control other people's responses to you. You're not people pleasing. You're, in fact, just living to kind of please yourself in the most loving way possible, which in turn allows you to have the space to do the loving thing for others. And so when you are moving from a state of love, there is just a sense of slowness that comes about your body. It's like the saying, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. If you want to get somewhere quickly, the best way to get somewhere quickly is slowly, because when you are present, taking your time in the moment, time kind of responds to you. It slows down. I talked a little bit about this in my episode on quantum leaping and collapsing timelines, but there is a beautiful present moment experience that we have with time where our vibration vibrational state changes so extremely, so rapidly that life just has to match up to it. And because of that, when you know that you have time and you give yourself the time, time appears. It's giving yourself the spaciousness of the present moment. When you are rushing, that compounds time because you're moving from that state of fear and scarcity. And as I said, you can push and strive after the things that you want. But at the end of the day, if you're in that state of pushing, striving, and wanting, you are not going to be in the state of receiving. You're not going to be in the state of being. You're not going to be in that place. And so I encourage you to ask yourself, what are the telltale signs that you're moving from fear? What are the telltale signs that you're moving from love? And for me, the telltale signs that I am moving from fear, this is going to look different from everyone, but for me, it's an urgency. I'm buried in my lists. I am not present with people. I'm dodging calls from people that I love because I'm just so busy. I'm on my high horse of, oh, there's so much to do. I'm feeling overwhelmed. My body's feeling tight. I haven't moved my body. I am feeling stuck and stagnant. I start to get in negative thought loops. I start to catastrophize. I start to lean into black and white thinking. And when I'm moving from love, God, it's just all so much easier. I feel playful. I feel silly. I feel excited. I feel expansive. I feel able to show up and do the thing. Everything feels like it's moving a lot easier. I'm having fun as I'm doing the things that I'm doing. I am moving with just a sense of grace. Things are happening naturally and working out. And there's just this sense of trust that I don't have when I'm moving with fear. Like when we're moving with fear, there is a pervasive sense of needing to control everything because we don't trust that it's going to be okay. And so we feel like we need to awaken this hypervigilant state in our body, and our body feels it, our mind feels it, our heart feels it, and we close ourselves to seeing opportunities that could be there and to seeing the ease that could form because we're expecting it to be difficult. And so we're making it difficult. It is difficult. This is just how it works. If you are going to expect something to be hard and awful, even if it's not hard and awful, the expectation of it being hard and awful, the feelings that you're feeling of it being hard and awful is making it hard and awful. And so if you are expecting something to be easy, the feeling of ease is going to permeate even as challenges arise. You're going to see challenges as opportunities to deepen a sense of ease, to deepen the sense of commitment that you have to peace and trust. And so when I'm moving from a state of love, it's a lot more about the feeling behind it. All of the actions could look very similar, but the smile is on my face, my heart is open, and I'm just a lot more able to witness and see the love around me. And so those are the telltale signs that I'm moving from love. So what are your telltale signs that you're moving from fear? What are your telltale signs that you're moving from love? And I encourage you this week to just notice where you're moving from fear and see if you can deepen into love. See if you can lead with your heart. I do a heart opening meditation every single morning, and it's actually one that I created. It's my own voice, and I love listening to it. And it is available in my community, which you are invited to join if you're interested. The community is a place for spiritual, like-minded baddies who are figuring shit out to come together, to connect, to share their experience of life and living and unraveling. We do workshops. We do somatic, playful, creative, inner child healing, meditative, journaling workshops, all the things. There is a group chat. We are going to start doing challenges soon, and this community is just so vibrant, so alive. And so if you are interested, please feel free to reach out. I would love to have you be part of it. It's growing and it's beautiful and it's just so wonderful. There's a lot of love to be shared. And that's what happens when you are sharing it with other people, is that love compounds. It allows the space for growth to just be so insurmountable. Like you wouldn't even realize or expect it to be as amazing as it could be, but then you share it with another person and it's just so good. In the same vein of where are you moving from fear and where are you moving from love in your life, I invite you to notice how often you're complaining and to commit yourself to not complaining for the rest of the week. Not complaining out loud. You might complain in your head. That inner critic might be loud. It's going to happen. It's conditioned. It's a voice that you fed. But the more that you decide to just observe it and focus your attention onto something that you possibly could be excited about, connected to, joyful over, then the more that that voice quiets and the less that you have a tendency to complain, the more that you are in a state of acceptance and in a state of surrender and in a state of flow and dance with the present moment. Life is a dance. Life is a co-communion, a co-creation. Life is not just something that you show up to get a bunch of stuff done and then die. Like, life is for you to live it. Life is for you to be creative inside of it. Life is always asking you to expand, to grow bigger, to go brighter. And the beauty is that the more that you become in this life, the more that you can be, the more expansive you can continue to be. We are always going to be figuring something out. Hello, figuring shit out. There's always going to be something to solve, something to do, something to grow into, a challenge to overcome and to see the beauty inside of, a shadow to transmute, a light to be fully felt. That is always going to be what it is. That's life. Such is life. So how do we enjoy this process? How do we go about this world of flux and commit ourselves to brave, intentional living? We begin by choosing love. We begin by seeing that it is really as simple as fear or love, and choosing love. So let this episode be your permission to choose love. Let this transform the way that you look at the next bit of your life, the next week of your life, the next month. And if something is on your heart that is blocking you from feeling this love, how can you be there for yourself through it? What do you need? You know. We always know more than anyone what we need. And sometimes we feel blocked, but that's because fear is blocking us. So what are you scared of? What is wanting to be felt by you? How can you extend love to yourself, compassion to yourself? This is something that I come back to time and time again, but it really is so powerful. The power of joy and hope and decision to be in delight and decision to live your life, seeing the sunny skies, seeing the things that are here for you, ritualizing every moment, as simple as your morning coffee, as simple as eating your breakfast and just extending a little bit more love to the food that's going to nourish your body, greeting the people in your life as you enter into a room with a little bit more love, presence, attention, joy, devotion, being a little bit more tuned in to what someone else might be feeling and allowing yourself to be from that place of wholeness, giving to them of space and allowing your energy to pervade, allowing your energy, your choice of love, your choice of joy to influence the room rather than adapting to whatever is in that room, especially if it's misery, especially if it's struggle Olympics, choosing not to play and choosing to decide to be exactly where you are, as you are, who you are. If this episode resonated with you, leave a comment, say hi. It really helps. I love reading them. Share this episode with a friend. If you're interested in Costa Rica, please reach out. It is 6 days in this beautiful location, and I'm so excited, so honored, so joyful, so delighted to be guiding this and leading this. And I am so excited to meet you if you are going to come. If you're interested in staying up to date with figuring shit out, sign up for the mailing list. There's going to be all these new news on how to work with me and be part of my programs and be part of the containers and communities that I'm creating in that newsletter. You can also write to me if you have any questions that you might want answered on the podcast. It might inspire a new episode, or I might read it on the podcast. Who knows? So if you're interested in that, you can sign up for the mailing list below, and then you will receive all that you need to know there. Make sure you get merch. If you sign up for the mailing list, by the way, you get 10% off your first order of merch. Get your Figuring Shit Out hat, your hoodie, something to keep you nice and warm and cozy in the coming months. Make sure that you have rated the podcast on your preferred streaming platform. And remember, if you spend your whole life trying to get your act together, you don't have a life, you have an act. So go and live your fucking life. Feel some joy in your body and your being. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
You got to look for the redeeming feature. You got to look for things to appreciate. You got to find a reason to make it okay where you are. No, I've got to strive and struggle and try. That's what I've been taught. Growth and expansion is my quest. No, that's inevitable. Whether it comes easy or hard is the question.
The horrible truth is that it's an inside job. That if you're going to get that love and that respect that you've just that connect, that union starts inside.
To every experience of growth there is an equal and an opposite. And that equal and an opposite is what drives you to that light. So you have to start inwards. You have to start first within yourself.